furniture or anything, and the first flash in your mind that says this is a living room, without even kind of assembling in your mind why it's a living room and where the furniture goes, that's Chachma. And then when someone says, I don't see why is it a living room, you say, because the table would go over here and the curtains would be like this and the children are sitting over here and playing. And this is the idea of drawing it down, drawing that seminal flash into a kind of a framework of understanding where something is known rather than just being known, but not with a knowledge of perceiving.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why.
Abba Paltiel, is it me or do we keep explaining like Chachma and Bina again?
Do again?
We've done this like a lot of times, Chachma and Bina and Das. We keep explaining it in different ways. Are we explaining different things and I'm not picking it up, or are we saying this? Are we just going over it?
No, we're going over for two reasons. Number one, these things are subtle enough that they require going over. And number two, when you see them from different approaches, then it alleviates some of the obstacles of seeing it.
I'm not sure what you mean.
When you see it from a broader perspective, from one approach and another angle, from another angle, then it becomes more clear what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Rather than it seems, okay, this is what it means, this is what it means. It's not this or that, it is an idea. All right. I guess they didn't know, I just had an opportunity to come. I missed yesterday, so yes. Okay. So Mitzrayim, we are on the second line of the second ois, Biodua. Mitzrayim alludes to the inyan of Meitzer Mi, of the contraction and imprisonment in effect of the Bina. And what is Bina? For what purpose, in other words, is Bina? V'yodua, it is also known, the whole lead as we his galos hamidois, that the entire birth and expression and revelation of midois, hu mibchinas Bina, is from the aspect of Bina. Bina affects the creation of midos in the revealed level, in the person.
In the revealed.
The revealed level, in the functioning level of the person. Yeah. Page 172, you have it? Looking for his glasses?
I was looking for them, I found them right here.
The birth of Midos is from Bina. And as we're going to see, ultimately we're going to discuss Midos, and since the birth of Midos is from Bina, if Bina is imprisoned, then it does not create the Midas. This is where it's leading to. Ukmei shekosuv, as it says in a pasuk, not exactly in these words, but the Inyan, it says, the Leah Yolda Shisho Boni. Leah gave birth to 6 sons. And Leah hu bechinas Bina. Leah stands for Bina. Why? Where do we have an allusion for that? As it says in the pasuk, V'shem Hagdoilo Leah. the name of the Gdoila, of the big daughter. Lavan had two daughters. The Haktano is Rochel, and the Gdoila is Leah. So it says, Ha-Gdoila is Leah. And this posuk, these words, V'shem Ha-Gdoila Leah, is in Pnimius explained that it actually is alluding to the following. V'shem Hei Gdeila Leah. The name of the Hei Gdeila, the big Hei, is Leah. This is clearly there's a remez in this pasuk, and in the Torah there's every word is merames and has deeper and deeper implications. And the remez of this Hashem Hagdelo Leah is Hashem Hegdelo Leah. What is Hegdelo allude to? Hegdelo, this is the first K of the Shem Havaya. The Shem Havaya is Yud K Vav K. There are two Ks. There's the first K and the second K. The first K is called the big K, and the latter K is called the small K. Why? Because the Yud is Chochmah. Everybody knows that Yud represents Chochmah. The K, the Hey, that represents Bina, because Bina is the expansion, opening up, broadening out of the Yud, and that's symbolized by a K, by a Hey. Hey expands. Following that, there is the Vav. The Vav is the descent from the Bina downwards. The Vav is 6. That represents the 6 midos.
No doubt.
Hmm?
No doubt.
No das. Das is not represented there. We'll probably may talk about it another time. And then there is the second K.
What is the Vav again?
The midas, the 6 midas. And the second K, it represents Malchus. Malchus is also an expansion and a broadening out.
Is
But-
it numerical or shape-wise?
Shape. The K,
But the Vav is
the
6
Vav
units.
is numerical and also shape.
And shape. So
Yeah,
Hamshacha.
because it's Hamshachim is Ma'ala Lamata.
But only the Vav is numerical, right?
Mm-hmm. Maybe I should answer your question. Das is not represented because Das is a service. Das is a koyach that takes the bina and connects it to the midas. Takes the chokhmah and connects it to the bina. It is not something of its own. Das connects chokhmah to bina. The ability to concentrate into the chokhmah and to reveal the bina is also through das. Das is the hiskashus, the method of delving in. But what does das reveal by this delving in? It is the chokhmah and the bina. So it is the bina that contains the message, the principle. Das is the method, the means to bring it down and to connect it to midas. So Leah, as it says in the pasuk, Shem Hey Gedela Leah, which means the big Hey, Leah and Rochel. Leah represents Bina, and Rochel represents Malchus. V'shish Obonim, and the 6 sons. They say Leah gave birth to 6 sons. Heim Shisha Midos. This is representing the 6 Midos in Elodim Min Habina. The 6.
How do we know that Rachel is Malchus?
Heiktano.
She's a Hektan.
Yeah.
This is Rachel Haktan.
Shem Haktano, Shem Hagdila Leah, but Shem Haktano Leah Rachel. Same pasuk.
Do we all see the particular trait of each meat expressed in each particular shevet? Is it all apparent in such a way that we can see that moving is best on, or is it just it's not so openly visible?
It is, but this is not even going to examine it. Yeah. So the 6 midos are born from the bina. Ukmei shekosuv, and as it says in pasuk, lefi sichlo yehoi leil ish. Ish means a man, and this and the union of Ish, you know that the man there are 4 different terms that the man is called in the Torah. Adam, Ish, Gather, and Enosh. 4 different names for a human being. Each one of these 4 represents a man of a different madrega, and also represents different aspects of the person.
Adam Ish.
Gather and Enosh.
Enosh.
Enosh. Adam is the highest madrega, and in the person it is his seichel. Ish, this refers to the midas of the person. And then there is Geber and Enosh, which refers to the type of midas a person has, whether he has strong midas, which is Geber, or he has weak midas, which is Enosh. So Ish is to the midas, refers to the midas part of the person. And the pasuk says, Lefi sichlo yehul ish, that what praises a person, what gives a person his ish, it is according to his seichel. The seichel defines what kind of ish he is going to be. Shekol hanhogas hamidos hu mei haseichel. Because the hanhogas hamidos, the guidance and the revelation and inspiration of the midos is from the seichel. Without the seichel, the midos do not function.
Doesn't it here have the connotation that according to a person's seichel, he praises?
When we say he praises, we change the vowels on the word Yehilo, we read it the Hallel.
What's the touch on Hillel?
Praise.
Hillel, though.
Hallel is praise.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Yehulo. It should be praise. Hallelujah.
So according to his seichel, he is praised. The man is
Right.
praised.
That means that Ish, what type of midas does he have, that when is he praiseworthy? If his midas are according to his seichel. And according to the seichel, depending on the seichel, that's the kind of midas he's going to have, that's the kind of praise he's going to get. Yeah.
I hate to jump back, but
Mm-hmm.
you said he is harchava?
Yeah,
Harchava.
expansion. Yeah.
Expand. I wasn't sure that's what
Mhm. Because Anhogas Amidas is from the Seichel. So we will cover it a little bit here and come to a point and then stop and discuss it a little bit more. V'lochein, and for this reason, Hakoton, the small child, whose seichel has not yet developed, misave lidvorim ktani, he desires small things. Mipnei, and that is because shesichloi masig dvorim ketane ho'erech, because his seichel reaches and comprehends things ketane ho'erech, that have a small and insignificant value. But to him, this is what he appreciates. And that's why he desires small things. Because his seichel relates to these small things. Ve'hagodoil, and the grown-up, shemasig dvorim gedolim, who understands and who reaches and who can relate to greater things. Lochein misava lidvorim gedolim. And thus he desires greater things. He is drawn to bigger things. V'hagam de'hamidos yesh lehem mokir miyuchot. Although that the midos actually have a mokir miyuchot, a unique and a special source, the midos have the koyach from the nefesh directly. And the power in the midos is not, the midos are not powered by the seichel. The midos are powered directly from the nefesh. They have a mokim miyuchad, a unique and a special source. Ve'ein etzem mitziuson mehamoichi. Etzem mitziuson means their essential being is not mehamoichin, is not from the moichin. As I said, the moichin are not the ones that power the midas, that make the midas be. V'yal Rabba, to the contrary, mekoirom l'maylo mimokin hamoichin. The moker of the midas is actually higher than the moker of moichin. Moichin is the seichel. K'meshakosu b'zoyah, as he says in Zoyah, Avo. Avo means Av Eim. It refers to Chochmah and Bina. B'mazlo iskelilu. Iskelilu comes from the word koileil. They were included, which means they were rooted in the madrege called mazel. V'zo. Zo is Eirampin, that refers to the midos, Patiko Ochid Vitalia. Ochid Vitalia, Ochid means is united, Vitalia means is dependent. So Zo is united and dependent on Atiko, which is Atik. Atik is Keser, which is higher than Maz. Okay?
What's the level of mazel? Atik is Atik Yemin, right?
Atik is Atik Yemin, and Mazel is the lower madrege of Keser.
Isn't Atik Yemin the lower level? Isn't Arich Kantin above Atik?
No, Atik Yemin is the higher level. Arich Yemin is the lower madrege.
So Maza is like Al-Rab?
Right. So regardless of exactly where this is placed, but Atik, and the Zohar is explaining Atik, that Zoh is rooted in a higher madrege than Avo. So really the midos are sustained and given being, given their presence and existence from their own source, and even higher than Mikol Mokoim, still lead us with his galus amidas, the birth and revealing and revelation of the midah, who may has seichel dafko, is exclusively from seichel. It is only the seichel that can reveal the midah. The midah will not reveal it, will not awaken on its own without the seichel.
So Lidat is Seichel actually do some new midah, or he's just revealed the midah?
He is only revealing the midah.
Why is Lidat?
I'm sorry?
Why it's Lidat? Lidat and midah.
Right. Lidat Hamida means revealing. Just like birth of a baby. When the baby is born, the baby was previously in the mother's womb. When it's born, it becomes a real mitzvah.
Rabbi, I don't understand.
Yeah.
When a person has a taiva, right? A taiva for gashmis things, a very low type of taiva. So is that also conducted by the seichel? Like it's below seichel. It's like. So I don't understand how do you have such a taiva?
It's below seichel to desire it. But it is the seichel that detects, that shows you that it's there.
Right, it's below seichel.
It's below seichel to the want it. The seichel says you shouldn't want it. But it is the seichel that shows you what's there. And then you're drawn to it, perhaps naturally.
Right. According to this, that the midas are rooted higher than the seichel, meaning it means that the etzem level of ish is higher than the level of Adam, for example? Like the whole idea of midas is higher than seichel?
No, not higher than Adam. Higher. All koiches that we are talking about, the seichel and the midas, these are all koiches. In the nefesh, there are two distinct in a person. There is two distinct levels, two distinct parts, separate, very clearly definable, separate aspects. In general, this is described as etzem v'hispashtus, the etzem and the expression of the etzem. The expression, the koichos, are called functions. The way he functions, the way he acts. And then there is the etzem of the person. Like we spoke many, many times, and here's another repetition of what we discussed about seichel. That seichel, the human seichel, is primarily human, which means that there is a human being before the seichel. And the seichel comes from the fact that he is a human being. This inyan that he is a human being, that is the etzem of the person. The seichel is the functional part. That was to say, he is a human being, and therefore what? And therefore he understands this way. Therefore he will act this way. When we see a human being, a person, acting not appropriately, when we see a person acting like an animal. We don't say he is an animal. We say he is acting like an animal. Because he is not an animal. He's a human being. But he is not living up to the standard and the level that he is. So, Adam, Ish, Gever, and Ish all refer to the koiches, the functional part of the person. The koiches that are functional, are acting, how he acts with his seichel, and how he acts with his midas. You understand? But but then there is these koiches have are rooted in the essence of the person, in the essence of his nefesh. And what we're talking about over here, that midas being rooted higher than seichel, we mean in the essence. The root of the midas is higher than seichel. We will discuss this and we'll bring it to a meaningful level.
So the midos in the essence they're uprooted higher than the seichel, but within the koichos the seichel is above
The seichel is higher than midas. Yes, that's right.
So higher it means it's stronger. Like what's mean higher?
Higher means that it has a greater quality, a greater meaning, a greater significance. It's more real, it's more true. Why our midah is dependent on the seichel, like we spoke about before. We're not finished yet. We're still going to learn this, but just as an introduction, why our midah is dependent on the seichel. So we spoke many times. We explained the seichel, the re'iyah, sight. Do you remember that?
In particular, which one we're talking about, or in general?
The power of sight.
Where you could be able to see something for its own reality.
Right. And that sight is what makes it possible for a person to want something. The Yetzer Hara
What is sight?
Re'iyah.
but the two achele v'chtem achele.
Right. Ayin roya v'alev choymet. And the person who can't see, chas v'sholem, doesn't have a Yetzer Hara. What does that mean?
The world isn't real to him.
Because the world isn't real to him. That's what we said. He has the midas. He has a Yetzer Hara. He has the taiva inherent. But he doesn't, but there's no real world. And therefore, if there's no real world, there's no taiva. The seichel presents to a person a real world. So in that respect, the seichel is higher than midas. Right? Midas is just my own feeling, and the seichel tells me that which is a reality.
Seichel is connected with sight,
Yeah. Seichel is connected with sight, right? It's sight on a physical level is similar to chokhmah. So therefore, seichel is higher than midas, because seichel relates to the truth itself, to the real mitzias of the world. The midas are my personal experiences, my personal likes and dislikes. So seichel is higher. However, in the etzem hanefesh, the thing is reversed completely. Why? Because the seichel is higher. Where is the seichel higher? Only in the level of the world. The reason is that in the world, everything that there exists in the world is separate from everything else. If I know of this table, it's because I see it outside of myself. My connection with this table is through my eyes, through my hands. It's not an inherent, it's not internally contained. It's not really real to me personally. It's real only because I see it. But higher than seichel, in the etzem hanefesh, everything is there, everything that exists there on an essential level. It's true because of the nefesh itself, not because the nefesh learns something from outside. The nefesh is at that level, and the nefesh is one thing with Elokus, and therefore everything there is true inherently to the nefesh. There is no two things in the nefesh, the truth and I want it. Whatever is I want is the truth automatically. Whatever is the truth, I want automatically. There are not two things. In the world, there are two things. First, I have to learn about it, and then I have to want it. In the nefesh, there are no two things. And therefore, in the nefesh, the midos are rooted deeper than the seichel. Because the fact that the nefesh wants it, that's the truth of it. And that's the midos. Okay. I just one second. You can ask me a question. I just want to put some kind of a boundary on this discussion. In other words, we're not going to go all the way into this discussion. I just wanted to explain what it says over here, so that everything we learn, we should have some handle on it, but not that we're not learning it conclusively. But it says, Adarabba, the midas are rooted higher than the seichel. And in Atzilus, the Zoh is rooted higher than Avo. Because here we talk about Gilui, how it expresses itself, how it reveals. On the revealed level, Seichel is higher than Midas. And in a certain way, we are able to see it here also, but in a certain indirect way. Seichel understands that you have to give tzedakah. But who gives tzedakah? Does the seichel give tzedakah? Or the midas? The midas. Seichel cannot give tzedakah.
Depends.
Your hands.
I don't want to give, but I give because of seichel, right?
Well, that's something else already. I'm talking about if the person really is involved in doing the mitzvah, in giving. Is involved, that's the midas. The midas are the ones that actually activate the hand and the feet and give real chayas to do something. Not the seichel. Seichel doesn't have that capability, that power. The midas are so powerful they can actually arouse a person to action and to excitement. That also shows that there is inherent power in the midas which is not in the seichel. But that's on the level of power. In terms of madrege, seichel is higher. But in the nefesh, it's reversed. Because in the nefesh, as I said, the want and the truth of the want is together, is one thing. The nefesh cannot desire anything that is not true. And anything that is true, the nefesh automatically wants it.
You could say that the midas have a more direct connection to the emes of the pshitas than does the seichel.
Yep.
Right, so the seichel in that level is needed for higher things even, or?
Sorry?
We know seichel only as a way to understand why to connect to something. But if the connection is automatic, like whatever you desire, that's the truth of it, then seichel, what would be the use for seichel then? Seichel has even a higher use, let's say? Like what would be because the koyach of seichel, let's say, what would be in that level?
The Kerech of Seichel would be to explain the Rotz and HaNefesh. Okay, so let's again come back to here. So, Lepoel Mamash by us, the midas are dependent on the Seichel. Even though there are midas, the koyach of the midas exists in the heart, in the person. When a person is alive, he has midas. But his galus, the coming forth of the midas, the activation of the midas, is only through the seichel. And if a person doesn't have seichel, then automatically his midas are dormant. And if a person has a small seichel, then automatically his midas are at a low level. He wants small things.
Also the animals, they have later that...
The animals don't have seichel that creates the midas.
So you just have midas.
They have midas.
Without seichel.
Mm-hmm. That's why they say that the animal is instinctive. Animals have midas chesed, midas rachmin. They said that nesher rachmoni albono, but it's not rachmonis in the same sense like a human being has. It's an instinct. Doesn't go through the seichel.
So it's like mature man, if he is like somebody, love somebody, and little boy loves somebody. So it cannot be little boy love more than mature man. Like somebody 33 years old like his mother, and 3 years old like his mother. So it's like 33. His love is more strong.
His love is definitely not more strong, but more meaningful. And definitely, completely a higher level. You understand what I mean? The 33-year-old loves his mom from a much deeper and more meaningful position than the child, than the 3-year-old. It's a different kind of love. Because his seichel isn't developed to understand.
And anger, like somebody anger. Like little kids sometimes very become angry.
But little kids,
Yeah.
right?
And a minute later they forget.
They look
That's
like,
right. Did you hear that?
You do something very nice and I love you so much, and you do something they don't like, and a second later they're screaming at you, I hate you, and all nasty things, and give them a lollipop and they love you again.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. and that itself explains why his love is pours out when his hate and his anger is uncontrolled, because his seichel doesn't affect his midas sufficiently. That's not, it's the midah runs on its own, because it doesn't have the seichel to explain what it is. Oh, all of a sudden I got angry. Okay, poof. This principle that by a person everything is to the seichel, which we are still going to discuss, but we illustrated it here, as I recall it, by the following phenomenon, that we see that an animal, when an animal is born, remember that? Yeah?
He walks straight away.
He walks right away, right? A half hour after birth, the horse runs. A 1 year old horse runs in tournaments, right? In horse races. How long does it take for a human child, a hadvel, to walk
A year,
and to run?
3 years. Not in races, that's for sure.
Huh? Not in races.
Especially not with horses.
And why is that?
Why? Because it's also a mental
That's right.
decision.
Because a
You have to
horse
learn.
runs by instinct. And a human being, everything that he does, even walking, he has to first process with his intellect. He has to first be able to relate to it and understand what it is. That takes time to understand the significance of walking. Really takes time.
What's significant?
The meaning,
Mashmal.
mashma'ut, and the value, the goodness of it, so that the child comes to the point and says, I want to walk. That takes time.
So it's like the intellect is like the child should say that I want to walk, but it's not that the intellect makes me walk. I don't need my intellect to walk.
That's right. The intellect cannot walk. It's the feet that walk. But he can have the feet and he can't walk.
So it's the fact that he says that he thinks to himself, "I want to walk," that makes him walk. That's the
This is
driving
what
key behind it.
this is what touches him, and then he begins to develop walking. But as long as this hasn't happened, he doesn't walk. Right.
Right.
No.
The reason, how is it, for example, that, okay, when first people that do things that they don't relate to at all, like similar to what we talked the other day about, like doing things that don't have any meaning and you can't even relate to them, but not like, I don't know, you don't even, like if the kid would walk without even knowing that what is walking, like when, there is certain things, sometimes instinctive things.
Everything that a person does, absolutely everything, has to have gone through his seichel. If after that it becomes a habit, and he knows how to do it without thinking, so the seichel then functions on a subtle and a hidden, in the background level. But there is a seichel, and he's aware that he's walking, but not necessarily consciously, or conscious awareness. But a person is centered in the mind. If his feet could possibly walk without the mind telling him to walk, can you imagine what will happen?
Bumping into walls all day.
Right? He thinks he's here and he ends up over there.
And the potential, the things that we do, let's say, when we have the capacity to go beyond seichel, like Mesiras Nefesh, this kind of inyan.
Okay.
It's also through seichel.
It's also true seichel.
This is nefesh?
Mesiras Nefesh is bypassing the seichel, but it goes through the seichel. You're aware of what you're doing.
Yeah. Okay. It's not a decision made from seichel, but
That's
it goes through seichel.
That's
Awareness.
right. That's right. And this is what we mean to say that the midos are born from the seichel. And if not for the seichel, the midah will be completely dormant, and you would not know. Dormant means sleeping, and you wouldn't know that it's there. Now he's going to explain more specifically. The haseichel hu moi oir shemeir es hamida. The seichel functions like light that illuminates the midah. He illuminates, he shines a light on it, and then the midah sees and recognizes the union that it wants. And then as a result, the midah becomes awakened. As for example, if one is in the darkness, and next to him there is something that is good and sweet. Where for sure he would have a desire for that thing. But since that he doesn't see it, then therefore the midah was not awakened because he doesn't see it. Chemda, desire. The eye in the roya, halev choimet. First there has to be the eye to see, and then the heart desires. And if the eye doesn't see, then the heart doesn't desire. Not because it doesn't desire, it doesn't have the desire. The eye does not create the midah in the heart. The eye only points out it's there. And the heart likes this, wants it, automatically. Because he sees it.
Ayin here can mean like Riyah Siklis, like it doesn't.
But right now we're talking about, this is a much lower level. We're talking on a physical, simple physical level. the something sweet, whatever, tasty that a person likes. And it can be right next to him. But he's in darkness and he doesn't see it. He doesn't have a desire for this. But not to say that he doesn't have a desire for it, but the desire for it is not active. The minute light comes on and he sees it, he immediately wants it. All of a sudden he has a desire for it. The fact that he has a desire for it has not been now created in him. Did you ever hear the expression, a person eats seafood? He likes seafood.
Food of the sea.
Seafood, but he spells the word C, S-E-E.
He's on a seafood diet.
He has seafood diet.
Whatever he sees, he eats.
Whatever he sees, he eats.
You want it?
So he wants it, but he doesn't see it, so he doesn't want it. The minute he sees it, he wants it. So here we see clearly that a person doesn't walk around with a desire for every kind of fruit, with an active desire for every kind of fruit, put it mildly, not candies, ice cream, fruit, for every kind of food that he would eat if it were in front of him. Right? Let's say at this particular moment you would, if you could eat grapes, a pear and an apple, you would eat grapes and a pear and an apple. Do you walk around with a desire for grapes and a pear and an apple? You don't. And yet, the minute they're in front of you, it says, oh, I'd like to eat that. What happened? This connected, this awakened, this inherent desire, and then a liking for it. And therefore you know, oh, I think about it. And when you didn't see it, you didn't want it. What meant you didn't want it? You didn't have the awareness of wanting it. Can you imagine if a person would at all times have all desires that he has functioning actively function? He wouldn't be able to do anything. Because how can I spend time eating an apple? I want to eat grapes. How can I eat grapes? I want a pear. How can you have a pear? I want a cake. He would have to.
He'd kill himself.
He has only those desires active that he is currently aware of. That's how he's able to function.
You see, this is what is really sick people, that they can't distinguish between one thing and the other, that they're everywhere.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It feels like we're all like that, no?
What?
If all these times were happening, we'd all be like that, no?
That's
I mean,
for sure.
we'd have to fight really hard
I'm saying,
not to be like that.
These desires actually are not active. They're not there. Even though it takes nothing to awaken them. So that this revealing and showing it has a very strong, a very important function in revealing this koyach, to bring it out, to make it active, make it functional. Similarly, the seichel meir as hamidah. It lights up, it illuminates the midah. It brings light to the midah. Umar elo, and he shows to her, to the midah, sheyesh dovor toiv, that there is something good. Yesh dovor toiv, there is something good. And the seichel explains to the midah, this is a good thing. As for example, somebody who unveils, Megala, he reveals to someone else, sheyesh eitzor nechmod, that there is a desirable treasure, eitzor, a treasure. He shows him, over there is a treasure. So when he shows him that there is a treasure, or he reveals to him, whether he shows it to him or reveals to him, otherwise he says, under that tree or in that place is hidden treasure. He will be awakened with a desire, with a will, and the desire for it. And prior, the moment before, he didn't think of any Yetzer. He wasn't going around looking for the Yetzer. All of a sudden, he wants it and he runs for it. The Bevadai, where for sure, to me, the third line. The Bevadai for sure, be'etzem, that in essence, hareyesh lo yechemdo leho Yetzer. In essence, in his essence for sure, he has a desire for this Yetzer. Elo except shekoidem sheyoda shenimtzo ha'Yetzer, before that he knew that the Yetzer is present, hoyo ha'ahava behelem. Then the ahava, this rotzen, this will for this Yetzer, and this connection and this desire for this Yetzer was behelem, was concealed. Ukiilu einoi, just like it would not be there at all. It's as if he is not there at all. His desire for the Yetzer, he doesn't function, doesn't trouble him, as if he doesn't have that desire altogether.
This intellect which reveals to the Midah, the desire, is it the same Seichel makes also the same function? The Seichel should control over the Midah, like the person should conduct according to the Seichel?
Yeah.
How does this function?
Okay, wait. Not everything at once. Everything at once, we are very decided that if everything goes at once, then we flip out, right? So this ahava, this powerful desire and affinity, this connection to this Yetzer, his appreciation and his desire for this Yetzer was completely submerged. Behelem. It wasn't functioning. It wasn't active whatsoever. Just like it would not be there. When you look at a person, and you know that under the table there is a Yetzer, but he doesn't know about it. You look at him and says, there's a Yetzer right next to his feet and he's so calm. What's with this guy? Is he an idiot? He doesn't want Yetzer? Or is he, he's not appreciative of valuable things? Doesn't mean at all. He can be very appreciative of valuable things. But that appreciation is dormant.
It's like us. Yeah. It's all day.
Right? It's not active. Ukshegilah loy sheyesh Yetzer. And then when this person reveals to the other person, when he reveals to him that there is in fact an Yetzer, misoyer hamidah, then the midah awakens. So this is the second level. First we said the mashal from ayin roya v'lev chayim, the eye and the heart. The eye and the heart is a direct thing, right? I see it, and that touches me, and I want it. The Yetzer is already at a higher level, because you don't see it. Somebody told you that there is an Yetzer. Which means that you have to understand with your seichel, you don't see it. Ein roya, when you
hear it?
I'm sorry?
Why it's not hear it?
You hear it, right? You don't see it, you just hear it.
You should understand what you hear, or
Sure you have to understand. If somebody tells you there's an oitzer, you have to say, what? What's an oitzer? You have to reflect on it. To appreciate what he's telling you.
Why when you on Riyah he's speaking like
Hmm?
on Riyah he's speaking like Riyah, but about hearing he's not speaking like more than you his understanding is also over there, not the hearing is also over there.
Hearing. As I said, these are illustrations at three different levels, as we're going to see. The first level is on the physical level. When he sees something that's tasty, the minute he sees it, he feels the taste of it and he wants it. He doesn't have to reflect, this is tasty. He tastes it before he even gives a bite into it. He relates to it right away because he sees it. The oitzer, the treasure you don't eat. You have to be an intelligent person to value a treasure.
So Riyah hearing and smelling, it's like one level, gashmish. When you see something or smell something or hear something, it's like one level. First level, gashmish. And second level, it's like
you could say that when you see something, that arouses you more directly than when you hear about something. If somebody says, over there is ice cream. Right? So you want the ice cream, but not the same way as you see the ice cream. That seeing itself draws you more directly. Right? Because you know what it is and you want it. There's no processing involved. In the oitzer, there is a processing. Somebody tells you there is an oitzer over there. You inherently want the oitzer. But there's an intellectual process. What's an oitzer? And you immediately begin. An oitzer is not something that you have a direct experience with. An oitzer is something which your intellect tells you its value. Understand? Somebody who does not have intellect, not a developed, not a mature person, he doesn't know what it is.
When the person tells me that right over there's a treasure, I'm gonna run over there and get the treasure right away, right? Without any thinking, anything.
You will be thinking, but the thinking is going to happen very quickly.
Oh yeah.
And a child who likes to thought process might want a balloon more than wants a treasure.
Of course. What's a treasure?
Balloon is a treasure for him. That's what I'd say.
That's it. And a gooey cake that you can get your mouth all smeared up, that takes precedence over everything else. Right.
That's his oyster.
What?
That's his oyster. He's
My
his like.
According to my cycle, I also want it.
Right, you get the cake, I'll get the treasure.
Right.
I once was sitting with a group of people, and we were discussing, essentially this concept over here, this maturity, this development of seichel. And I asked the question, what's more valuable, a diamond or a loaf of bread?
Where it depends too. Depends on what time, where.
What?
Depending what case.
Yeah. If you're in the middle of nowhere and you're not going to see people for a long time, the diamond's not going to help you. Loaf of bread is the biggest oitza. So what are you going to do with the diamond? Look at it. Person will die.
Under your current circumstances.
Diamond.
All right. The question now is what?
Because with a diamond I can get millions of loaves of bread.
See, this is the point which I want to make. Okay, you missed the mark.
Okay.
If you translate the diamond into loaves of bread, then you don't appreciate the diamond. Why do you think you get millions of loaves of bread for a diamond?
Because it's much valuable than the loaves of bread.
No, because it's beautiful.
Who wants diamond? People, if I have a million loaf of bread and you give me a diamond because a diamond translates in millions of bread, should I give it to you? I have the loaves of bread.
Well, at the end of the day, I want money. I don't want the diamond. I don't want the bread.
Okay, you understand what I'm saying to you? There is the concept of intrinsic value. That's a diamond that doesn't translate into loaves of bread. Of course, if Chas v'Sholom, you're hungry. Now, this is one of the ways that Yirmiyah Novi describes the tzores of the Churban Mizamigdash. That people reach such a level where the Gemara says this woman who was the richest woman in Yerushalayim, she went into her house and threw out all her diamonds, all her pearls, and all her treasures, all her jewelry, into the streets. And there's a posuk, and the Gemara says this is substantiates the posuk that this is what's going to happen. That shows how low people have reached. That that diamonds meant nothing to them. They needed a crumb of bread. You understand? But normally, people appreciate a diamond for its value, not because it translates into bread. This is important to understand. You understand? There are things which are, from a human perspective, you see that in Beis Hamikdash, and the breastplate of the Kohen Gadol didn't put crumbs of bread. They put diamonds.
Is this something like?
They should put big dollar bills over it. Huh?
But is this something like the idea of just? Well, I remember what I wanted to ask.
All right. You'll remember, don't worry about it. So, the oitzer, to appreciate the oitzer, does require an intellectual development, a maturity, a sense of value. That's what the Gemara says. They say halacha, that up until a person is 20 years old, if there is a circumstance that he has to be permitted to go and sell and buy in his father's property when his father is away, there's a whole circumstance. Up until 20, we don't allow him to do it, even though he is the heir, he is the Yiddish, because he does not really appreciate the value of things.
For his own good, you don't let him.
Excuse me?
For his own good, you don't.
For his own good, he doesn't appreciate the value of things. What does a kid need land? He needs money to buy ice cream, right? And what is land? Doesn't appreciate that real estate is a real estate. To him it means nothing. The other day I was talking to somebody. It's a whole Stalson is not the point. The point is, he said to me, this person says, does not appreciate what it means to own your own home. To mean renting an apartment and owning your own home is the same thing. It's identical. Doesn't see the difference. So, of course, As far as living is concerned, living quarters, you live in apartments, same thing. You pay rent. But to a human being with a sense of, a developed sense of reality and a presence in the world and having a purpose in life, to own his own home is a very significant thing. And a person fails to recognize the difference between owning and renting means that he has not developed fully intellectually. On the human level, I'm not talking about Avodas Hashem. It's simple to appreciate life in the world. Solidity of life. So this Eitzer is also, this is something which requires growth. Okay, gentlemen.
Right.